Hi, I'm Brendan.
And I'm Karen.
And together we're Fox and Rabbit. We're filming this Flosstube on Sunday, the 18th of July, and it's Flosstube number 4 for us.
Before we start, though, we'd just like to acknowledge the passing of Barb Adams this last fortnight. Barb is the other half of Blackbird Designs. She passed away on the 4th of July, which was coincidentally when we did our last Flosstube, and we heard about it, I think, the day after or possibly 2 days after. We were just incredibly shocked and saddened. Barb and Alma from Blackbird Designs have been so incredibly kind to us from the time we started our shop back in 2001 right through to beginning our designing career. And we're just very, very sad, and we wish Alma all the best going forward and send our best wishes to Barb's family. We first met Barb and Alma at the International Quilt Market back in 2009, and it was such a thrill for me, especially to meet them both. I'd been stitching their designs since they started, because I'm a quilter and a needleworker, so to have designers that did both plus released fabric ranges was just a dream come true for me. So to actually meet them was such fun, wasn't it, Bren? They made us so welcome. I think they were amazed that we had come all the way from Australia. So even over the entire 3 days, every time we would go past their stand, they'd call us over and wanted to have a chat. They loaded us up with a bunch of free books and everything just for us to take home as a thank you for coming all that way. And over the years, they were just always so lovely to us. We met them again at the first time we exhibited at Nashville Needlework Market, which was about 5 years ago now. And again, it was such a thrill to catch up with them after all those years. And the last time we saw them, obviously, was at breakfast on Sunday, the last Sunday of Nashville Market back in 2020. We were heading up to Wisconsin for a week with Brian and Teresa from Needling Designs, and part of that trip up there was a visit to Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. And Barb had heard about it, I think from Pam, I'm not sure, but she came up to us at breakfast and said she was so excited, that I was so excited that we'd be visiting Country Sampler, and she really wanted to hear what we thought about it. She gave me her phone number and said, "You've got to text me and tell me what you think about it. Maybe we can catch up for lunch on your way back down," which we were thrilled to do. So after our week in Wisconsin, things started turning bad with the pandemic hitting. And so sadly, we had to contact her and tell her we couldn't swing by. We had to get back down to Dallas as quick as possible. She said she understood and that we could catch up at 2021 Market. Obviously, 2021 Market didn't happen due to the pandemic, which none of us could have predicted back a year ago. We heard from Barb about a couple of months ago just to let us know that Blackbird Designs were producing a model on one of our linens, and we were just beyond thrilled. She also asked, could she get a couple of extra colours? We said absolutely no problem. Honestly, I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience, the thought of one of their designs being on our linens. So again, always supporting us. It was just so sad to hear that she had passed, and we will miss her greatly, and Market won't be the same without her. Hopefully we'll still get to see Alma and catch up with her next year, but as I said, we just want to acknowledge the passing of this very great lady of our needlework industry. So on to what's been happening the last 2 weeks since our last Flosstube. We're actually back in full lockdown, aren't we, Bren?
Yeah, so New South Wales, where we reside, has been in partial lockdown for the prior 2 weeks. But unfortunately, the Delta variant of COVID is running rampant through the community, and the government's just instigated a full lockdown. So they've closed all non-essential businesses. We're not allowed to travel. We're not allowed to effectively leave the house unless it's for a few essential services. So unfortunately, that means everything's slowing down here. The mail's now slowed down. It's a little bit harder for us to get things out. So the current orders that we're processing at the moment, it's going to take maybe a day or two longer to get them out.
We're still working through them, though.
Yeah.
Bren, as we obviously run our business from home, it doesn't really affect us that much, other than obviously the mail going a little slower. Brennan's madly dyeing all the shop orders. Aren't you, Brenda? I'm crazily designing our releases for Needlework Expo, which is happening at the end of August.
And I'm also lucky that my dye order arrived just before the lockdown, because otherwise it would have been 2 to 3 weeks before we could have got any more dye.
And one of our big one of two big Zweigart shipments also arrived. In fact, I'll get Brent to insert a photo here of what our driveway looked like a few days ago. I've now got to cut and serge all that, getting it ready for Brendan to dye. And I think almost all of it.
I've got to dye and iron it all.
That's true. That's true. So it's going to be a very, very busy 2 weeks. So even though everything's in lockdown, we really can't leave the house because we've got so much work to do anyway. So it's probably a little bit... it's good not to have the temptation to go out and have lunch and do things like that, because we really have to crack on, don't we? Probably releasing, I think at this stage, all going well with our model stitches. We've got probably 3 samplers to release, 3 reproduction samplers, and a couple of my own originals. You might remember from the expo back in March, there was a Moo the Merrier. This time it's Meow the Merrier. So I've got to get cracking on that little cat design as well. But Brent's going to show you the back of one of the samplers we're currently reproducing.
Yeah, so one of the samplers that we're reproducing for the market, or for Expo, and this is the back of the sampler. It's a sampler that's been done on canvas in wool. It's a Welsh sampler, but the colours are just so vibrant. The sampler itself hasn't fared very well on the front, although the colours on the front are still very bright. They're not as bright and as vibrant as the colours on the back. So what we've decided to do is actually produce this sampler in those bright colours. We think it's a fun sampler, and Karen keeps saying to everybody that anyone that stitches this is going to smile.
Yeah.
Just because the colours are so fun. We think it's going to be once it's stitched, which is going to a model stitcher.
Yes, it should be going out to Jenny either tomorrow or Tuesday, again, depending on when I'm allowed out of the when I can get out of the house. So I'm just putting the finishing touches on it at that moment.
Yeah, so we just think it's going to be such a unique sampler with these really bright colours, and it's going to be fun for anyone to stitch. Yeah,
certainly not sort of our regular palette. We usually, if there is usually a bright back but a really pretty faded front, we do, or we are starting to anyway, with some of our samplers coming out, stitching it in one colourway but giving the option of a second. This one will be different. This one will just be in the brights from the back. So that should be a lot of fun. And you got some fabrics that you're working on as well?
Yeah, so we're also producing 3 or 4, we're not quite sure yet, new fabrics for Expo. We're just finalising those colours at the moment. The colours are finalised. I think I could change my mind, but we're just making sure that the replication process is working, and I'm doing that in between batches of dye for shops at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess now on to what we've been stitching this last couple of weeks. I haven't been stitching much, I have to admit. I have actually been stitching a model for Expo as well. So in my defence, I can't show you that at the moment, but that has been getting worked on nearly every day. But, oh my goodness, I'm almost loath to show you this. As you probably remember in, I think, the previous 2 Flosstubes, Brendan. Yep.
My dramas with this. I'm in a stitch along with several of my friends. And this one is Carol and Amelia Trail by Brenna Gervais from With Thy Needle and Thread. Now, I think we're in week 11 or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I have had to restart this now. Well, restart it twice, but I've had to restitch parts of it 3 times. So I am so behind everybody else. I think... the new assignment, it goes up on Sunday, so I haven't even been going to look tonight to see what the new assignment is because I'm so behind. My friend Jodie's stitching it, and she's setting a cracking pace. I think she's probably already got the next part done tonight. But anyway, this is where I'm at. Not very far, because I've had to restitch the house and all of the right-hand side. I think the tree is the only thing I've only stitched twice. Everything else is now on its third go. I spilt drink all over part of it. I made mistakes with my counting. Honestly, I think this one is jinxed. And as I said, the girls are in the group, in the stitch along, are all almost caught up. They so far, just to give you an idea, we're supposed to have had the top row done and right through to, I think it's just to that little pink house. I think Paulette's assignment today will probably be till the end of this second row. So technically speaking, by next Sunday, I should be up to there. Now I'm going to continue to stitch as fast as I can because I really do not want to fall any more behind. Everybody else's is looking fabulous. So in amongst my stitching for Expo, that is going to be the number one thing on my list for the next probably 2 weeks. My thought is to try to stitch the samples during the day for Expo and work on the fun stuff that I want to stitch at night time. That's the aim anyway. I don't know. What do you think, Bren? Is it third time lucky for me? I don't know.
I think that's a doomed sample.
I don't know. Now, the other thing, I had planned on actually getting this one finished by today, but we actually went and got our final vaccination done on Friday. It was no problem at all, the very first one. We had the Pfizer vaccine, and the first one we had sore arms. Brent's was worse than mine, but the next day we were pretty much right.
Yeah.
This time we had it done Friday at 6 a.m, and it really knocked us around. Brendan, way worse than me. He's still not 100% tonight. So
Still got man flu.
yeah, if we're looking a little bit weary, it's because it's been a long couple of days. Nothing earth-shattering, just very sore arms, very bad headaches, and very achy, fluey kind of feeling. But I'm feeling a lot better tonight, but Bren's still on the mend, so hopefully another good night's sleep and he'll be a bit better. But because of that, I didn't get this fully finished like I had planned. But I think most people have been stitching Blackbird since we heard about Barb's passing. But I'm doing Remember Me, which is a little sweaty. I just haven't had a chance to stitch the bottom, but I will have that fully finished by in 2 weeks by our next video. But that's it. It's Remember Me. And I've changed the colours of mine. I've stitched the writing in Country Redwood by Gentle Art. I'm stitching the outer border in Nutmeggy by Classic Colourworks, and I've done the little bird in Classic Colourworks Blackbird, which I thought was appropriate. So I will have that finished to show you. As I said, my arm was just too sore to keep going on that this weekend. So apart from my model stitching, that's all I've got to show you this week. Now on to Brendan.
Yeah, so unfortunately this week I've been kicked out of the 6 Stitches Club. I failed the club.
The founding member, can you believe it?
Yeah, I've actually put more than 6 stitches into a design. So I've been stitching The Mermaid of Salem Bay by the Primitive Hare. So I'm using all the recommended threads, and we also managed to get hold of the fabric as well. So I'm stitching the tail at the moment, but the fabric is really special for this one. It's a printed fabric from the Primitive Hare, and I'm not sure how it's showing up on camera, but it's got a ship down in the corner, and it's overlaid with like a map with a little ship's compass on it.
And it's a 30 count.
Yeah, which is my eyes are loving, which I think is why I managed to do more than 6 stitches.
Bren loves the 40 counts and the finer linens, don't you, Bren? But in all reality, I think that's a better count for him.
Yeah, I need to put on Coke bottle glasses to be able to,
yes.
to do the 40 counts.
Yeah, but you're enjoying that, aren't you?
Yeah, and I tried 56 count once.
You did?
Yeah, but that wasn't good.
That wasn't happening. Oh, again, a friend of ours, Marg, one of our model stitches so many things on 56 count, and hats off to, and Jean from the attic, it's her go-to linen. Hats off to you ladies, because I don't know how you do it.
I had 3 pairs of glasses and a magnifier and still couldn't see it.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, now plans to stitch. I obviously am going to continue to try to catch up on Carol and Amelia Trail. That is my goal. But another one I do want to start, and I was planning on starting this, Michelle Bendy Stitchy had a Quaker Zoom sale on Saturday, or Saturday our time, I think Friday her time, which I had planned to attend and start the Holiday Quaker by Lila's Studio. Unfortunately, I was really under the weather after our vaccination on the Friday, so I didn't get a chance to start. But Brendan dyed myself, Michelle, and Heather from Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher this lovely linen to all stitch it together on, which is, and this is probably going to be a new release at some point soon, Bren? Sometime soon. But it's with these beautiful, I'm doing mine in all the called for colours. That's missing a couple of DMC there, which I have to pick up this week. But I hope to get a start on that this week and slot it in behind the one I want to catch up on. So that's my only stitching plans apart from continuing on with models for Expo. And Brendan?
I'm going to continue on with my mermaid. I'm a one-boy project.
Yeah.
Project boy.
Yeah.
One other way around.
Okay, so on to our purchases. Do you want to do your purchase first, Brendan?
Because mine's very quick. Is that what
yours
you're saying?
is much quicker than mine's going to be, yes.
I've only purchased one chart in the last 2 weeks, which is Get Kraken by Ink Circles. So Tracy's done this beautiful sampler. It's a Dutch-based sampler, and I just love the Kraken that's in there destroying the little ship. So I was very good.
Yeah, well, he knows I wasn't, so...
But the other thing I did have, you bought me.
I did.
Yeah, so this doesn't count as one of my purchases, it's one of yours.
Okay, it's one of mine, okay.
Yeah, which is a new book from Inspirations. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Inspirations. This is the third book in their series of A Passion for Needlework. They have the most amazing projects in their books. Then they're all embroidery. They're not cross-stitch related. So I think this is Karen's reason for buying me the book.
An ulterior motive.
Yeah, she wants me to stitch this.
I love pairs. Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably last on my stitch list. But there's a lot of really, really beautiful projects in here. A lot of stump work.
Yeah.
As well as embroidery. So there's some beautiful stump work projects. And they have amazing instructions which step you through step by step. Let's look at this. Little succulents. So you can actually make little pot plants.
Yeah. I mostly do cross stitch, but Brendan actually, he loves all kinds of embroidery as well as cross stitch. So that's your passion, isn't it?
Yeah, I just love all of it.
Yeah.
I'm not a snob like you.
Okay, so my purchases, righto. These are the ones I'm showing at least this week.
Yeah, I actually saw that there's a whole pile more that somehow snuck into the house.
I've got to have something to show in our next Flosstube. That's my story.
But the trouble is you're going to buy more in the next 2 weeks.
No, that's always a possibility. Yeah. I've got to stay on Flosstube, honestly. I go down so many rabbit holes. I've been designing this whole last week, and every time I watch a Flosstube, I think I spend more time on my iPad than I do clicking that download button.
Yeah, every time she buys something with a credit card, it comes up on my phone, a little ding, telling me that we've made a purchase on the account.
Clearly you have a joint account, yeah.
And that's all I hear when she's watching Flosstubes is ding,
ding, ding,
ding, ding.
I blame the other Flosstubers for it. It's not my fault. I'm just squirreling everywhere.
That's why we're broke.
Hardly. Okay, so I was very happy to see about 2 days ago that Laurie Brecklin from Not Forgotten Farm has now released a chart called The Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom. Now, I've been wanting this for ages, but it wasn't available as a PDF. So when I heard that she had actually released it as a PDF, I was on there like so fast it wasn't funny. It's a really sweet one, and this is going to be going into my Halloween rotation stitching as soon as
supposed to be.
Thank you, Brendan. Oh my goodness, can you tell it's late at night? Yeah, so this cutie I've wanted for a long time, so I was thrilled. And not only that, Laurie also had a new release, which was also a PDF, but it was also a new release. And this is Prunella Squash Bottom, who goes with Gordon. So they're just such fun, and I cannot wait to start stitching those. Like I said, they'll go into my Halloween rotation. Speaking of, so these are what I kind of want to start stitching after Expo for the Halloween season. Back onto Blackbird. I've been wanting to do this one for a long time too. This one is Midnight Ride. So cute. And then you got the little witch's hat on the back. But I'm going to be stitching the Raven. So I would have thought you'd like that one too, Brendan.
Goes with my necklace.
Goes with Brendan's necklace, that's right.
Yeah.
His lovely Raven.
With my raven and feather.
Yeah. And this one, now I was watching Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and she was doing a whip parade this last week. And there was a few I'd never even seen before, so of course I had to get on and get those immediately. This one is by Quiltify Designs, and it's called All Souls Verlanden. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that very well. I'll try to. It's sort of like a Quaker, but with all sort of Halloween-y motifs. Just love that one. So Brendan doesn't know it, but he's going to be designing me something to stitch that one on.
Wow.
Yes, you're going to be busy.
All we're going to be doing is dyeing custom pieces of fabric.
Well, this is another one that you have to do too. Now, this is another one. This is the final one I'm going to start for Halloween. This one is by Lakeside Needlecraft. I think it was a stitch along back in 2017, so I'm really coming to this party late. But this is beautiful. It's called Spooky Halloween. It's such a cute one. Again, Bren has plans to also release a couple of Halloween fabrics around about September, Bren.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them will be perfect on that. One of those is actually one of the ones we showed you before that everybody put all the name suggestions out for. We haven't picked the name yet. I know we've been slack, but I promise you we will actually have a name for that by our next video. And just a couple of other little ones. Now, I think I showed you on our last Flosstube that I had the Jane Hopkins 1875 from Hands Across the Sea samplers. The minute that they released this one, I just bought the PDF immediately. However, we've since gotten this in for the shop, so I now have a lovely hard copy. And that one is this beauty. I think there'll be a lot of people stitching this one. Again, I think the colours are going to be bright and fun.
Yep.
I love a sampler that doesn't bore me. Some of them are stunning to look at, but they can be a bit dull, whereas this one certainly does not suffer from that. And this is the beautiful bookmark that you get to put all the details. Tape it onto the back of your sampler. It's just beautiful. And then, only two to go. And then I've been waiting for this one to arrive. This is the Floral Motif Sampler by the Scarlet House. As always, Tanya does not disappoint. Oh, yes, that's it. And I actually have a friend, Naomi, my friend, has asked me if I would do a sale with her for this one and a few other people. I think their aim is there's roughly 31 motifs, I think, in there. So I think in August they're going to start stitching a motif a day for 31 days with the aim to try to get it finished by the end of August. As much as I would love to do that, and I really would, with everything we've got before Expo, that's just not going to happen. So have a great time, girls. I think you're going to have a ball doing that stitch along. Another one that just arrived, which I love. I haven't decided on the colours that I want to stitch this with yet, but I think I'm going to put it on our Eureka linen. And this is Clara Hansen by Hello from Liz Matthews. Although I must admit, I do love the colour that she's chosen for that one. Yeah, so that one is charted for NPI 663 or DMC 502. So I will do a floss toss and decide on that one. And last but not least, this arrived just a couple of days ago from Needlework Press. Megan and Vicky have knocked it out of the park yet again. This is Lucinda Fraser 1866, and I believe it's an Iowa Quaker sampler. Everyone we've shown this to has just fallen in love with it. It's just beautiful, including my friend Teresa. I will be sending you one, Teresa. We can maybe stitch to get together after Expo. So that's the beautiful sampler. And so that's my purchases for this week that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so, right, so fabric, Brendan. Do you want to... everyone's been asking us to show some of our different linen colours every week. So Bren thought he'll just pick, what you've got there, about 5?
Yeah, I've just picked a couple. So I've pulled these out of the fabric we're currently dyeing for shops. We might flip it over. We'll start with the subtle colours first. So this first one is really the first linen that we have released.
Yeah.
Which released commercially, which is hog bristle. So it's our most popular linen. We sell more of this than any other colour, although some of the other colours are catching up pretty quickly. But it's just a beautiful colour for samplers.
Yeah.
Well, that me bragging that it's a beautiful colour.
Yeah, no, it's very versatile. Yeah. And as Brent said, there are other colours starting to catch up, but that one's still our most popular. Yeah.
So the next one was one of our newer releases, which is ballet slippers. It's not showing up very well on the camera. It's a peachy pink colour.
Yeah.
It's a really light colour. It really does look like ballet slippers, the colour of ballet slippers. Yeah. It's a really nice colour for samplers as well.
And it changes a little bit depending on what colours you put on it. So it's a really versatile one as well. Yeah, I love it. I'm stitching about 3 different things.
It's just a nice subtle colour for samplers. It won't compete with what you're stitching on it. Okay. So this is prehistoric. It's the lighter of our 3 of grey colours. So it's a blue grey colour.
The other 2 are Elephant Run and Fossil, and we'll show those in a future video.
Oops.
Now's Brendan's favourite.
Yeah, this is actually my favourite colour, which is seaweed.
It's also his hardest to dye.
Yeah.
So while he loves it, he hates dyeing it just quietly.
Yeah, it takes about 5 or 6 times longer and about 4 times more dye to dye this colour than anything else that we actually produce. But it is my favourite colour. That's why we're still making it, although it does drive me crazy. So it's a green colour. What do you call that?
Yeah, it's an olivey green kelp sort of colour. It is literally seaweed.
Yeah, with a lot of dark brown tones in it.
We live near the ocean, so we see it every day. Well, when we get out of the house, we see it every day.
So the next 2 colours that I wanted to show, again, these are our newer releases. They were released at the last Expo.
Back in March.
Yeah. And the first one is dragon fruit. So it's showing a bit more purple.
Yeah,
in
pull
the
it back
cameras.
a little bit maybe.
Yeah, it's actually pinker than it's actually showing. So it's actually based on the actual fruit itself, called dragon fruit. They're grown up in the tropical north here in Australia, and the skin of the dragon fruits is a beautiful pink colour. Inside the fruit is white with black seeds. And the last colour is beetroot, and again it's throwing a bit more purple than it actually is. It's actually based on the vegetable here, the pickled vegetable here that's sold as beetroot. I think in the US they call it beets.
Beets, I think.
And Australians are a little bit weird, and we put this on hamburgers and in salads and all those kind of things.
In actual fact, I just remembered, this was one I think I showed last video, I think. My friend Jodie stitched this little beauty for me as a gift, and she stitched that on our 40 count beetroot. So, as Bren said, it's not surely showing true to colour, but I think the pincushion is a little truer to colour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually starting to become quite popular, the beetroot colour, which is nice. Now the other thing we were going to show you is just two of our current ones in our catalogue. I'll show you one of mine, and Brent can show you one of his.
Okay, I thought we were going to show Mayflower.
Oh yes, that's right. Sorry, my bad. Okay, this beautiful colour. Before Bren ever started to sell to shops and for us to start wholesaling, he did a linen for us to sell just through our shop. It's been so popular for about 3 years now, I suppose.
We haven't actually sold it for a couple of years.
No. So it's time to bring it back into the range. So this one is called Mayflower. And it's a beautiful antiqued sort of linen. I don't know if you can see the antiquing very well on it here, but it's just beautiful. And in fact, the sampler that's behind Bren's head there, which FYI is Dutch Beauty by Perman, we got asked that all through the comments in our last video. That was actually stitched on 32 count Mayflower. We called it Mayflower because most of our names of our linens come from either designer suggestions if they've used them, or we tend to have Australian names. But this one is just an homage to Brendan's 10th great grandfather who was on the Mayflower. We also have another one similar to this, but it's a lot darker, and it's called Duxbury, which was where I think your family all settled.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a beautiful one. It's more a stain.
Yeah, it's not a dyed fabric; it's a stained fabric. So
an antiqued one.
Yeah, so it's been antiqued to try and make it look like the old linens that you get on antique needlework.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so I think this one's going to be coming out at Expo, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Possibly. Very soon anyway. We've been asked about it for the people who have used it over the last few years when they used to buy it from us. Everyone's sort of been asking us, when are you going to actually stock Mayflower again? So it's time for it to make its official debut. So, yeah. Yeah,
it's just a really, really nice linen for samplers. Yeah. It complements the samplers. And
and I just love it. I have stitched so many. I think I stitched his eyes on the sparrow on it as well. It's just a beautiful, beautiful linen. And as I said, we get asked about it all the time, so I'm really happy he's going to start doing it again.
The only thing about it, but is because it's stained, it's not 100% colour fast.
No.
So you just got to be careful with washing it, because you will lose some of the colour if you do wash it.
In actual fact, onto that at the moment, I might just mention, we've got our Facebook group that we started a couple of weeks ago. It's we'll put the link below. It's Unicorns Out of Print cross stitch charts. I have had 3 of my unicorns arrive this past week, and they are all 3 of them going to be going on this beautiful linen. The first one, the first 2 actually, my lovely friend Paulette sent me during the week. I can't believe I've got this in my hands. It's actually my longest sought after unicorn. As many of you probably know, I love the primitive needle, and this is Salem Remembered. I was just so excited when this arrived this week. So I'm going to start stitching that, and it's going to go on Mayflower with those 3 colours. So it's going to be, I look, honestly, if I could drop everything right now and just stitch this from start to finish, I would. But sadly, I do have to get back to that other one. The other one I got, which is called Moonsick. I hadn't actually seen this one before, but Paulette sent me this one as well because she said it's a cutie, and it really is. And I think both of these will be quick stitches. I told her, I've got to, at the very least, I've got to get them back to her. Well, she said I can have them as long as I like, but I want to get them back to her at Nashville Market next year. So that's a good incentive for me to get them done and finished. The other primitive needle that that arrived in the mail this week is from my friend Jenny, who's up in Queensland now, and it's called Mystic Sampler. And that's another primitive needle. The group has been really successful so far with teaming people up with their unicorns, whether it be to borrow, to buy. It's just been wonderful. I've got another one coming from a lovely lady in the US. She realised she had 2 of a beautiful sampler that I've been after for a long time. So she said, look, I'll just send you one, and then when you're finished, just gift it to someone else, which is what it's all about. I don't like stitching things twice, which is why I'm struggling with the thing I'm stitching 3 times at the moment. But so for me, I don't care if it's out of print. I don't care if it's getting hundreds of dollars on eBay. If I've done it and stitched it, I'm happy just to pass it on to someone else. So we will put the link to that group below. So you never know, you may just find the one you've been looking for a long time. So now we'll show you a couple of we'll just pick one each that from our current catalogue. The first one I'll show you is, we have a sampler called Margaret McNown's. We can't show you that because it's down at Stitch at Willoughby, but Bren will put a photo of that one here. That's Margaret McNown's. So to complement that, I did Margaret McNown's accessory tray. And this is a lovely little one. We worked with Elm Lane actually I've got it upside down. I'm having a good night tonight. This is from Elm Lane. They actually took all the measurements I sent them and just created this beautiful box for us. They sent me swatch colours so we could pick the right colour paint, and honestly, first time out, it was perfect. So these 2 little stitch pieces go inside the tray along with a little cloth insert. And, oh, I had that sitting in there, sorry. So that's the tray. And then we have a little floss ring to go with it, and that has 1, 2, and 3 inches stitched on there to sort of substitute if you don't have like a corner gauge. It's very, very handy. And last but not least, there's a little needle holder, which is a lovely little gift. It's a very quick little stitch that you can actually stitch for a friend or just stitch for yourself, and that just goes in your stitching tray to have near you when you're stitching. So that's Margaret McNown's stitching tray and accessories.
So the sampler that I wanted to show is Susanna Drinkwater. So this is one of our reproductions. Mm-hmm. So we actually picked the original one of this sampler up at an exhibition at the Embroidery Guild of New South Wales. They were having a sampler day, mm-hmm. Where they had a whole lot of guest experts coming on and giving lectures about samplers. They had an exhibition of antique samplers as part of that, and some of those were for sale. And we actually purchased the original of this sampler as part of that sale. We were also sprung on us, one of their guests was unable to make it for some reason.
From New Zealand, I think.
Yeah. So they actually asked as part of that to do an impromptu talk to fill 10 minutes of their time. And really about
He did a
us.
great job. He did a great job.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We had to talk about ourselves for 10 minutes, which, yeah.
And just because what your background with researching samplers and reproducing them, and Bren did a great job. But yeah, so we were very lucky to get that little one though, because it was crazy. Everyone was like wanting to buy everything that was there, so we were fortunate to get that one, because I think that was the last one. It was the one I wanted, and you did too, and then luckily we just managed to get that one. So, yeah. And ironically enough, somebody else was Leona, I think, wasn't it?
Leona, yeah.
Actually, she bought one, I think that was Brendan's first choice, and then about 6 months later or so, she contacted us and realised that she wouldn't probably have time to reproduce it, and would we like to buy it back off her? So we were like, absolutely. We'll show you that one next video. That was the one my lovely friend Jody stitched for us. So yeah, that was a fun day though, wasn't it? Yeah. The Embroiderers Guild, if you're in Sydney and when things get back to normal, check out any of the exhibitions the New South Wales Embroidery Guild do, because they are lovely. They're a lovely group of people there, and they do amazing exhibitions. So
and classes as well.
And classes, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so that's 2 of our current ones. So I guess we'll come to our I actually said that when we got to 5,000 subscribers, I would design a design, as a thank you, our free giveaway, as a thank you.
Well, last night we were at 4,999 and you were praying that it wouldn't happen.
I thought, just give me another 2 weeks. No, we were, in all honesty, we are just so incredibly grateful. We're still quite stunned that we've even got to 5,000. Honestly, thank you so very much. It means everything to us. You know, just the lovely comments, particularly, even more so, that we've been getting, and just the lovely, you know, I've been getting phone calls from people as well, and lovely emails, as has Brendan, and we're just very, very grateful. We're having fun doing this, so we're glad that you seem to be enjoying it as well. We're still learning so much, aren't we, Bren? I don't know how many times we had to restart this video, but we're learning as we go.
I can't say fourth.
Brendan couldn't say this is our 4th Flosstube, so in the end he said it's our Flosstube number 4. Yeah. So, but no, we're learning as we go, and hopefully we'll just keep getting better as we get a little bit more used to this and not sound so nervous. But okay, so as a thank you, I've got this little one. This one is called Spring Promise, and I've put 2 little blackbird designs. 2 little blackbirds on this little design as an homage to Barb and Alma, just for this last 2 weeks. So that is our little free giveaway. It's a thank you for the 5,000.
Yeah, and the link will be in the description for how you can download that chart.
So we hope you like that one. Now, do you want to say what our next goal is, Brendan?
Yeah, so we needed a little bit of a breather before our next giveaway, but we thought we'd make the next giveaway something really, really special. We know it's going to take a long time, but we wanted to actually give away one of our antique samplers when we hit 10,000 subscribers. I know it's a long way off. It's going to take us a long time to get there, but hopefully you'll all think that the prize that we've got is worth it.
It's just to anyone who subscribes to get us there. So
yeah,
this is one we have reproduced and is part of our current catalogue, but it's the original we're giving away.
Yeah, so this is Marianne Bush. So this is the original frame sampler. I'm not sure if she's reflecting too much there. She's under glass. So this is a really beautiful sampler. The originals are up on our wall behind Karen.
1838.
Yeah. So we'd like to give this sampler away to one of our subscribers when we hit the 10,000 subscriber mark.
We hope that's something that people will be interested in hopefully getting. So we'll do a random pick of our 10,000 subscribers when and if we do hit that mark. So
So if you're looking at wanting to get that sampler, make sure you get your friends to watch our video and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, do all the things. And I think that's about us. We've got a big week ahead. Bren's going to continue dyeing fabrics. Hopefully he's feeling a little bit better tomorrow. It really has knocked him around these last 3 days. So as I said, if we're feeling a little bit off tonight, you'll know why. But the good news is, we're fully vaccinated, which means hopefully now, by the end of this year, we can start opening up the country again, or at least by early next year, so we can head over to Nashville Market in March.
Yep, so we've got lucky winners from our giveaway from last video. At the end of the video, we'll be putting up their names. So just to remind everyone again, we're giving away 5 copies of A Susanna Love and 5 copies of Butterfly Bliss. Those names have all been drawn now. They were drawn randomly through a random number selector. And at the end of the video, we'll have the names of those people. And if they email us at hello@foxandrabbit.com, we'll get the PDF of those charts away to them.
And sorry, I almost forgot. We've also got 2 things to give away this week. Okay, so I will be finished stitching this hopefully tomorrow. So I actually found that I have 2 copies of this one. So there's the one that I've stitched, but I stitch off a working copy anyway, so the original is in pristine condition. So we've got 2 of Remember Me to give away. So if you just put remember in the comments below, that's remember?
Remember.
Yep, remember?
Yep.
Now, when I was going through my quilting my Blackbird Designs quilting books this last week, I realised that I have 2 of the Raven. And clearly I only need 1. I do plan on eventually doing a quilt along with my friends Naomi and Andrea for this one. I think they may have started. I'm pretty sure Andrea has started. I just love this so much. It's so beautiful. But as I said, when the quilt along was going to start, I thought I had the book, couldn't find it anywhere, bought it again, and by the time it arrived, I had found my original books. So we will give away. Now, this one doesn't have needlework in it, but for anyone who loves patchwork, this is a beautiful, beautiful book. So if you just put Raven in the comments, we'll give away that book on our next video. And I think that's about it for us.
That's all we've got for this fortnight.
Hopefully we'll have a little bit more stitching to show you next time. But and as we get closer to Expo, we'll start giving you sneak peeks of everything that we're going to be releasing, including Brent's colours and what designs we'll be releasing.
Yep.
So
thank you for everyone for joining us again.
Stay safe, everyone in Australia, particularly in the lockdown. We're thinking of everyone in New South Wales and Victoria. Just need to hang in there. We'll get through this and come out the other side. So
we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.